The man in the worn canvas jacket carried a sleeping four-year-old against his chest and a single duffel bag over his shoulder. And the front desk clerk looked at him, the way people look at something that doesn't belong. He didn't know the name on the reservation, matched the name on the deed to every piece of art hanging in the lobby. The clerk's fingers stopped moving on the keyboard. "Sir, I'm going to need you to step aside." The voice was practiced, dismissive, the voice of someone who had learned that a certain kind of confidence can substitute for authority. "There is no reservation under that name." The man shifted the boy to his other shoulder without waking him. He set the duffel down. He did not raise his voice. "Check again." The clerk didn't check again. Instead, he reached for a phone, and within 4 minutes, a woman in a charcoal blazer was crossing the marble floor with a particular walk of someone who owns the room before she enters it. Elena Voss, 41, regional, director of Voss Hospitality Group, the kind of woman who schedules grief for a more convenient time. She read the situation in under 3 seconds and sided with the clerk. "Sir, if there has been a billing issue, we can direct you to a budget property 2 blocks. Marcus Webb." She paused. Something moved behind her eyes and disappeared. "I'm sorry, my name. You asked for it last year. At the acquisition meeting, you wrote it down." The boy stirred against his father's shoulder, blinked once at the bright lobby lights, and tucked his face back into the worn canvas collar. Elena Voss looked at the child, the way people look at something that reorders the room. She pulled out her phone. She stepped away. The call lasted 40 seconds, and when she came back, the color had not left her face so much as redistributed itself. "Mr. Webb, I owe you an apology." He picked up his duffel. "Room will do." The clerk was dismissed before the elevator doors closed. What Elena didn't understand yet was the envelope she'd found in her predecessor's files 3 weeks ago, the one she'd locked in her office desk without opening because her assistant had interrupted her, and then the day had moved on the Wade days, burying small decisions under larger ones. The boy's name was Sam. She learned this, not because Marcus told her, but because Sam told her himself, appearing at the hotel restaurant the next morning, while his father spoke on the phone near the window, walking directly to Elena's table and placing half a blueberry muffin on the edge of her plate with the gravity of a diplomat presenting credentials. She looked at the muffin. She looked at the boy. "I have a whole one," Sam said, "but you look like you only need half." Elena Voss, who had delivered quarterly projections to a board of 14 without flinching, did not have a response to this. She picked up the half muffin and ate it. Sam nodded once, satisfied, and returned to his father. That afternoon, she opened the envelope. The first page was a transfer document, her name, a property in Carmel she'd never heard of, signed by her father 2 years before he died, countersigned by her business partner, Gerald Hayne, with a notation that Reed reviewed and declined on behalf of E. Voss. She had never seen it. She had never declined anything. She closed the envelope. She called Gerald. He didn't answer. She found Marcus Webb sitting on a bench outside the hotel, watching Sam chase pigeons across the plaza, with the focused patience of a man who has learned to measure time differently. "You knew my father," she said. "It wasn't a question. He built the first property I ever managed." Marcus watched his son. Good man, honest about what he was sorry for. What was he sorry for? Marcus was quiet for a moment. "Ask Hayne." Gerald Hayne had been her father's counsel for 30 years and her own since the inheritance. She had trusted him with numbers, with contracts, with the slow machinery of her family's legacy. When she reached his office the next morning, he was already on his feet, already explaining, and she understood in the first 30 seconds. That explanation is what people reach for when apology isn't enough. The property in Carmel had been worth 4 times what the books showed. Her father had wanted her to have it outright, liquid, free of the group's entanglements. Gerald had intercepted it, folded it into a subsidiary, and let a decade of management fees consume it. She drove to Carmel that evening. The property was an empty lot now, grass growing through old concrete, a stone wall along one edge with the ghost of a garden, still visible in the way the ground curved. Marcus Webb was already there. She would wonder later how he'd known, but she suspected Sam had told him something, or the silence between them had been carrying messages she hadn't learned to read yet. He stood at the wall with his hands in his jacket pockets. She would have loved this, he said. Emma, Sam's mother, she used to say that the best gardens were the ones that kept growing after you stopped tending them. He looked at the grass pushing through the concrete. She's been gone 3 years. Cancer fast. He paused. Sam doesn't remember her voice anymore. He remembers her hands. Elena stood beside him. She did not say she was sorry. She did not say anything. She reached out and pressed her palm flat against the top of the stone wall, against the rough, cold surface of it, and left it there. The drive back was quiet, not the quiet of people who have nothing to say, but the quiet of people who have said the most important thing without speaking it at all. The distance between them was every choice that had ever sent two people in separate directions, compressing now into the simple fact of two hands that had both touched the same cold stone. Gerald Hayne resigned before she could fire him. The board voted to restore the Carmel property's value to a private trust. Elena signed the fund. Paperwork in her office with Sam sitting on the floor nearby, drawing something with the hotel stationery pen. A picture he folded and placed on her desk without looking up. She unfolded it after they left. A garden, 3 figures, one small. She called Marcus that evening. He picked up on the second ring. Sam forgot his pen, she said. A pause. We'll come back for it.